Hello and welcome to Market Square, your ultimate source for real-time updates on business, finances, and global markets. In our last episode, we explored the challenges facing made in Nigerian goods, including issues with production, infrastructure, and market access. Today, we have more live updates about the economy. I'm Olaitan Adebayo, and today we'll be analyzing 4 key headlines. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Market Square. Now let's dive into our first headline of the day. Nigeria hit 5.81 trillion naira trade surplus in Q3 2024. In a notable development for Nigeria's economy, the country has recorded a trade surplus of 5.81 trillion naira in the third quarter of 2024, driven by a significant rise in export earnings, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Total merchandise trade for the period reached 35.16 trillion naira, a significant 81.4% increase compared to Q3 2023, and a 13.3% increase from the previous quarter. Exports were a key contributor, growing to 20.49 trillion naira, which made a significant 58.3% of total trade, reflecting a 16.8% increase from Q2 2022, reflecting a 16.8% increase from Q2 2024, and a nearly doubling 98% from Q3 2023. Imports also saw a rise amounting to 14.67 trillion naira, up from Q2 2024, and a 62.3% from the previous year. Looking at the export breakdown of the 20.49 trillion naira, the total exports, crude oil exports contributed 13.41 trillion naira, while non-crude oil exports contributed about 7.08 trillion naira. But only 2.5 trillion naira of this came from the agricultural products, solid minerals, manufactured products, and also raw materials. And this is highlighting the country's heavy dependence on crude oil for export revenues. Nigeria's main export destination included Spain, the United Nations, the United States, France, Netherlands, Italy, and India, which accounted for 46.6% of the total exports. While looking at the import side, the major trading partners like the China, India, and the US were responsible for over 60% of the imports, with motor spirits, gas oil, cane sugar, and used vehicles being the third items. But despite these ongoing efforts by the Nigerian government to boost food imports in order to curb inflation, the trade balance remained in surplus. And while looking at it, the devaluation of Naira has also played a key role in driving up export values, while also making imports much more expensive. While crude oil still dominates the Nigerian exports, the rising global prices for agricultural commodities like the cocoa, cashew, and rubber present an opportunity for the country to diversify and also capitalize on its agricultural potentials. Another thing is investment in the agricultural sector could also enhance the non-oil exports, reducing our dependence on crude oil and also build a greater economic resilience. Now to the second headline. Nigerian Senate moves to ban corn exports to combat hunger. In a bid to address Nigerians' growing hunger crisis, the Senate has passed a bill making it a crime to export large quantities of unprocessed corn. Corn is a staple in Nigeria used for food, animal feed, and processed products, and it has been increasingly exported to neighboring countries due to disparity in exchange rates between the Naira and the West African CFA franc. According to the World Food Programme, the country is grappling with its worst hunger crisis, worsened by the inflation and driven by the austerity measures such as the devaluation of the Naira and the removal of the fuel subsidy under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. This recent ban on corn export aims to tackle the nation's growing food insecurity by ensuring that more corn stays in the country for local consumption. While this move might provide a short-term solution by boosting supply for domestic markets, it falls short of addressing the deeper systemic issues contributing to Nigeria's food crisis. The country's food insecurity is driven by much more than just a lack of supply. A major factor is high inflation, poor infrastructure, and limited support for farmers. For instance, the devaluation of Naira has made import goods much more expensive, pushing up food prices, while inadequate infrastructure like bad roads and the poor storage facilities result in large amounts of food being wasted after harvest. Simply restricting exports won't improve the local production or resolve the root causes of hunger. But to truly address this food insecurity, the government needs to focus on long-term solutions, such as investing in modern farming techniques, improving access to fertilizers and seed, and also providing greater support to smallholder farmers who produce most of Nigerians' food. And another thing is by improving infrastructure like roads and storage facilities, as this will enhance post-harvest losses and ensure food reaches communities in need. Another thing is by collaborating with international companies that are already boosting very well in the agricultural sector, as this will help attract investment into the agricultural sector. Now to the international news. Let's start with Egypt. Egypt's unemployment falls to 5.6%. Egypt has made significant progress in tackling unemployment with the rate now at 5.6%, a sharp improvement from higher levels seen a decade ago. Prime Minister Mustafa emphasized that the government has been actively working over the past 10 years to create new job opportunities despite numerous economic challenges. The most recent figures reveals a notable reduction in unemployment, dropping from 13% a decade ago to 6.5% and now standing at 5.6%. This achievement is a direct result of a series of strategic efforts aimed at driving economic growth and job creation. 2 years ago, Egypt made a bold policy change, shifting from state control over the economy and promoting a more active role for the private sector. The goal was to encourage fair competition, foster private sector-led growth, and also reduce the government interference in businesses. So far, so good. This shift has led to increased private sector participation and a boost in job creation across the industries, such as the manufacturing sector, the technology, and the service sector. This change has not only opened doors for local businesses to grow, but also attracted foreign direct investment into the country, thereby contributing further to job creation. By reducing the government role in managing industry, Egypt has been able to create a more dynamic and efficient economy. Business now has a greater freedom to compete and expand, resulting in more job opportunities and a decline in unemployment. Before this policy was implemented, the government focused on managing the industries and controlling key sectors, which sometimes led to inefficiency and limited job creation. But state-run companies struggled to perform well, and this effort relied heavily on public funds, which didn't provide sustainable jobs. But by stepping back and allowing business to compete freely, Egypt has created a more dynamic economy, leading to more job opportunities and stronger economic growth. Now to the fourth headline. Egypt-Norway trade hits $217 million in 2024. Trade between Egypt and Norway has surged in 2024, reaching $217 million in the first 10 months, a notable increase from $204 million in the same period last year, according to the Central Agency for Public Mobilization Statistics. Egypt's exports to Norway rose to $15 million, up from $11 million in 2023, while imports from Norway totaled $202 million compared to $193 million the previous year. This trade relationship between Egypt and Norway is a clear example of how strong economic ties can benefit both nations. In this sense, Egypt exports agricultural products like food, fruits, vegetables, and petroleum, while Norway sends machinery, chemicals, and seafood, particularly salmon. This mutually beneficial trade strengthens both economies. While Egypt gains investment and advanced technology that helps improve its infrastructure and economy, Norway deepens its business presence in the Middle East and North Africa, creating a new opportunities for Norway. A key area of cooperation between these two countries is the energy sector, with Norwegian companies involved in Egypt's oil and gas projects. In addition, both countries collaborate in technology and industrial sector. This partnership highlights how nations can work together in order to enhance growth and foster mutual benefits, creating a win-win situation for both Egypt and Norway. That brings us to the end of today's episode. Be sure to follow us on all our social media platforms for more insightful content on the economy and business. I'm Olaitan Adebayo. See you in the next one.